Welcome to the 2025 Iowa State Student Government Presidential Debate. My name is Santi Fajardo, and I'm the Election Commissioner for Student Government.
And my name is Claire Kozier, and I'm the Politics Editor for the Iowa State Daily. We would like to thank both the Persley Rolls and Brant Vlaschek campaigns for attending, as well as the Election Commission and the Iowa State Daily for their preparation leading up to tonight's event.
The debate structure will be as follows. Each candidate will give a 90-second opening statement, followed by general questions for both candidates to answer, and then individual questions directed over each candidate's platform. Both candidates will have 60 seconds to answer each question and 45 seconds for any rebuttal, with an additional 45 seconds for any back and forth between the candidates.
Following the questioning period, we will take a 10-minute break, and when we resume, we will ask questions that have been submitted by the student body.
The link to submit your question is on the Student Government website under the Debates tab. A QR code will be posted on the live stream during our 10-minute break, where you can submit your questions in a Google form. There are also QR codes here in the Great Hall. At the conclusion of the debate, each candidate will have 90 seconds to make a closing statement.
Before the debate this evening, Persley won a coin toss and elected to go second. So, Director Brant, you now have 90 seconds for an opening statement.
Picture this. Every day you cross campus surrounded by thousands of students, each with their own stories, dreams, and visions. But in the midst of it all, it's easy to wonder, who's really advocating for you? Now imagine if student government wasn't just another name on a flyer, but a team that truly worked for you, listening to your needs, your voice, and your passions. Good evening, everyone. My name is Colby Brandt. I'm a sophomore majoring in agriculture and rural policy studies, and I'm honored to be running to serve as your next student body president. It's time for student government to matter to you. We've talked to countless students throughout our campaign, and there's a common theme. Most people don't know what student government does. We're here to change that. Will and I are committed to breaking down barriers, connecting with students, and making sure that students are connected to student government. Each year, we all pay $98 towards the student activity fee. That's your hard-earned money, and it should be spent efficiently to enhance your Iowa State experience. From organizing exciting events or making sure that your clubs have funding, we will ensure that every dollar makes it back to you. Our campaign points aren't lofty promises. Rather, they're fiscally responsible, doable, and achievable. Whether it's ensuring you have safe transportation or optimal opportunity for growth, or providing your clubs with adequate funding, we've got your back. As you listen to the debate tonight, ask yourself, who will show up, put in the work, and make a difference? We're confident that you'll see that we are those candidates.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 90 seconds.
Hello, everyone. My name is Josie Persley. I'm a junior here at Iowa State, and I'm running to be your next student body president. When I arrived on Iowa State's campus 3 years ago, I was anxious and eager to find community. Community where I belonged, where I felt seen and heard, where I could excel, and where I could eventually become a leader for new students who would face similar challenges and opportunities. In my sorority, Gamma Phi Beta, I found strong women who support and uplift each other. In the LAS College and Political Science Department, I found like-minded peers who challenged my perspectives and improved my ideas. Through student accessibility services, I found a community which prioritizes my needs and the extra resources I need to succeed as a student. And finally, in student government, I found exceptional leaders who cared deeply about their campus and the students they represent. I was inspired to come in every day and do my best, while always striving to do the right thing for students. Through this organization, I have discovered my talent for leadership and honed my abilities. That's why I want to be the next president of the student body, to serve you, and use my talents for strong and effective leadership. Together we can create community on Iowa State's campus where every student feels like they belong and their student government is working to represent their best interests.
Thank you both. This first question goes to Director Brandt. What steps will you take to ensure that student government is truly representative of the diverse needs and interests of the student body?
Absolutely. One thing that our campaign has been big on from the first day is connecting with students where they are at, meeting students where they are at, out on campus, out in front of their clubs. That's what student government is about. Student government is about connecting with students where they are at. That's how we will work to ensure diverse perspectives are heard in the process and making sure that their voices are heard when student government is making big decisions that impact our student body.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 60 seconds.
Yeah, so when my campaign first came together and talked about what we wanted to run on, one of the number one things was the needs and interests of the student body. Throughout my time in Senate, I have been able to represent the CPC community, as well as students across Iowa State's campus. Through my campaign, I want to work on engagement, campus life, bringing more students downtown, and really creating a community that fosters every student and makes sure they can feel included and engaged in our campus.
Thank you. Director Brand, you have 45 seconds to respond.
Okay.
Perfect.
This next question goes towards Vice Speaker Persley. What short and long-term goals do you have for student government, and how do you plan to measure the success of those initiatives?
Yes, so we have a lot of initiatives that we want to work on getting done. And you know, it takes a large team to get these goals completed. We have some short-term goals that we want to work on. We want to keep the organization running smoothly. We have had an increase in the number of students engaged in student government this year. We also have an increase in students receiving funding from our organization. So we want to continue the good things that student government has been doing, but we also want to make it even better, and we want to listen to constructive criticism to make it better. So some of our long-term goals are sexual violence prevention, as well as mental health support, and fostering inclusivity on campus. Some of our short-term goals include engagement and creating fun events for students to get involved, like our Ireland game watch party for the football game next year during Welcome Weekend.
Director Brandt, you have 60 seconds.
Absolutely. When you're running for a position like this, it's important that you set effective goals. Some of our short-term goals include creating an exciting new homecoming event for all students to come to campus. Homecoming Central already does a phenomenal job of planning this, but they need our help to take it to the next level. That's where student government can come in. One of our long-term goals is increasing transparency among student government for the student body by having a cent-by-cent breakdown. At the end of the day, student government is responsible to the students of Iowa State University, and we need to be responsible with your money and make sure that you all know how your money is being spent. As for measuring these goals, it's important to gain student feedback, listen to those student voices, and make sure that our events are inclusive and equitable for all students on our campus.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 45 seconds to respond.
Yeah, so something I want to ask you about is, what about the step-by-step breakdown that has already come out? I mean, the Iowa State Daily puts down a breakdown of everything student government does each meeting, each week. They also do a year-end breakdown. So what would you like to see done besides this?
Absolutely. Anyone in the audience can go onto the student government website right now, and you'll find that it's pretty hard to find how student government spends your dollars, and that's not the way it should be. That money is yours, and you should have access to know how it is being spent. It looks like updating the online financing program, which hasn't been updated in the past couple of years. It looks like promoting a cent-by-cent breakdown, like I previously mentioned. Cent by cent, that shows you where your student dollars are being spent. That's how your voice can be heard. Because if you have a cent-by-cent breakdown, and you know where your money is being spent, you can come to student government, tell us what you like and dislike, and then we can work to better create events and make sure that your money is spent in the best way possible.
You have 45 seconds for a rebuttal.
Yeah, so I'm just really curious because, like what I just mentioned, the Iowa State Daily breaks down what we're spending our money on every single week. So students are able to see what we spend our money on every week. I'm also curious on how it would be feasibly possible to do a cent-by-cent breakdown.
I mean, it's really not that hard. It's about sitting down in an Excel spreadsheet and crunching the numbers. I mean, I don't think it's really that challenging, and when you have a wonderful team backing you up, it would be a pretty simple project to get done.
Thank you both. This next question is for Director Brandt. In your opinion, what is the most critical area where student government can improve, and what actions would you take to address it? You have 60 seconds.
Like I said in my opening statement, most students do not know what student government does. In fact, many students do not know that they pay $98 into the student activity fee every single year they are a student, whether they're undergraduate, graduate, or professional students. They're paying their $98 into the student activity fee. And some students may never see, touch, or feel the impact of those dollars. That's what student government needs to change. Student government needs to make sure we're working on connecting with students of diverse backgrounds and making sure that their voices are heard in the process of spending their money. And more than that, it is about connecting with students, meeting students where they are at. Student government can't hide in the Memorial Union. We need to be out in front of students, attending student events, connecting with students. That's what will make student government successful.
Vice Speaker Persley, same question to you. You have 60 seconds.
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest critical barriers for improvement with student government is working on communication. I think something that we really need to work on is communication with other student organizations. Throughout my campaign, I have been able to talk with many student organizations on what's important to them. What we really need to be doing is representing each student and making sure that their voices are heard and we know what's important to them. Something I want to work on with my campaign is, and working on in the future, is creating an online area where students can voice what they would like to see changed on campus, what they would like to see fixed on campus, and other students can go and upvote these and see whether they think that idea is good. And student government is going to be able to look at these ideas, see if it's tangible, see if we're able to do it, and work on what's directly important to the students.
Director Brand, you have 45 seconds.
I mean, that sounds similar to Yik Yak, am I correct by saying that?
Yes.
Absolutely. And who is going to monitor that? Who is going to make sure that gets done? That seems like a project that is out of the scope of student government.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that. University of Iowa actually has done this program and it's been successful, so we've been able to see something like this work and work well for students. So we would be modeling it after that, and we would be able to work with the University of Iowa and say, how did you get this project done? What could it look like at our university? And using our IT director to work on something really exciting like this and making sure that students' ideas can be heard.
Have you talked with university administration or leaders to make sure that this is something that they're on board with?
Yes, we've had many conversations with university administration about all of our platform points, and they seem excited about everything that we have to bring to the table.
Exactly, and that's where the difference is. Our team had conversations with university administration prior to February 1st to make sure that our campaign points were achievable, doable, and fiscally responsible. We met with everyone that relates to our platform before February 1st because on February 1st, we wanted to make sure that our things were realistic.
Senator Persley, you still have 13 seconds left. You'd like to use them.
I mean, it's not really about the timeline. It's about whether or not you are meeting with these people. And it seems like we both have met with these people, and they're ready to take on our ideas.
You still have 9 seconds, Director Brandt.
I mean, actually, it is about timeline. You could have been campaigning on something that would have been a false promise, and that's why students don't trust student government.
And that's time.
Leadership often involves collaboration and compromise. Vice Speaker Persley, how will you work with student groups, faculty, and administration to address issues that affect the student body? You have 60 seconds.
Yeah, and this is something I mentioned before. I think this is incredibly important. You have to work with university officials, you have to work with students, you have to work with student organizations. That's why we have been meeting with all of these people. We've been meeting with students, and we really want to make sure that we can collaborate effectively and make sure that everyone's ideas are coming to the table.
Director Brandt, same question to you, 60 seconds.
Absolutely. On our platform, you'll notice that many of our statements begin with, we will work with, or we will partner with. That is intentional. We have sought out the experts on our campus as they relate to our platform. Leadership and collaboration is so important on our campus. That is how student government will be successful. One of the examples I like to give is our meeting with Director of Transportation, Mr. Jeremy Paul. Jeremy Paul is responsible for overseeing the entire fleet of Iowa State University vehicles. And this was the first time in all of his years working at this university where he had been reached out to by student government with ideas and a vision. He really appreciated that because he was able to hear what the student voices were and student concerns. That is what effective collaboration looks like. It looks like finding those groups of people, meeting with them, and taking student voices to them and making sure that students are heard.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 45 seconds to respond.
Yeah, I think we just got to keep working on collaboration and getting our names out to as many people as possible and working on what needs to be worked on. We've met with as many people as we possibly can, and we want to continue meeting with people so that we can make this campus a better place.
Director Brandt, you have 45 seconds.
Absolutely. That's what is important about campaigning. That's what a campaigning is about. It's about meeting with people, and that's exactly what we have been doing since day one of our campaign. In fact, today we just hosted our 4th campaign event. That's what campaigning means. It's about connecting with students, meeting them where they're at, and then ultimately hearing their voices and making sure that their voices are heard in student government.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 30 seconds.
I'm good.
This next question is for Director Brandt. As a student leader, how do you balance making decisions that are in the best interest of the student while also being transparent and accountable to them? You have 60 seconds.
Absolutely. As a student leader, I have the responsibility to be transparent and accountable to the student body. That is who I work for. I work for the student body, and that's who I represent. As for making decisions, it's about hearing their voices, connecting with students who typically don't get the chance to interact with students. Student government has 100 members, and there are 30,000 students on our campus. That is a large population of students who are not involved in student government. It's about connecting with them, hearing their voices, listening to their issues, their passions, their visions for their time at Iowa State University, and then taking them to student government and making real, doable, and fiscally responsible change on our campus.
Vice Speaker Pursley, have 60 seconds.
Yeah, I would like to say making decisions is really difficult, and this is something that we all face in leadership positions, having to make a difficult decision. And something that I really try to work on is staying true to my constituents, staying true to the students, and working with others. So whether that means delegating, making sure that I have strong leadership surrounding me so that we can continue to work together, bounce off ideas, delegate to each other, I think that is one of the most important things to making strong decisions. You know, something that I really wanted to focus on in this campaign is constructive criticism and feedback. I have been transparent in taking in any constructive criticism, allowing people to comment on my Instagram and talk about what they would like to see changed, what they would like to see changed for my campaign, and responding to people how they see fit, staying transparent in that way.
Director Brand, you have 45 seconds to respond.
I mean, our campaign is the epitome of transparency. I mean, look at it. We published our budget when we didn't have to. We didn't have to publish a budget, but we did because we wanted to show the student body that we are accountable to you. That's what matters. That's what transparency is. Transparency means being accountable to the student body, and that is what will continue in our year of service if we have the honor to serve as your next student body president and vice president.
Vice Speaker Pursley, 45 seconds.
Yeah, I would just like to ask you, Colby, if you are staying transparent in your campaign, then why is your campaign Instagram blocking individuals? Why is your campaign Instagram deleting comments and deleting constructive criticism? I don't think that's staying very transparent.
Absolutely, I'm happy to talk about that, and here's the truth. A member of the Pursley Rolls campaign repeatedly commented on our Instagram and then took it a step further by directly messaging one of our team members. That is uncalled for, and that is harassment, and that has no place on our campus. In fact, students have been commenting on your Instagram as well, and their comments have been removed. That doesn't seem very fair, does it? Exactly.
We didn't remove any comments. I would like to say we responded to every comment like you should with thank you. I believe in constructive criticism. I thank you for what you have to say, and I think it's really important to hear criticism against myself. I'm always trying to improve. I want to do what's best, and I want to become better, whether I made a mistake or not.
And that is time.
Vice Speaker Pursley, this question is for you. How do you plan to handle high-pressure situations as president, especially when multiple student interests and needs are competing for attention? You have a minute.
Yeah, so this is a really difficult question, but thank you. You know, high-pressure situations are always going to be there when you're working in an organization that's for multiple people. You are working with a lot of money, and you know, I think my experience has been really helpful in this. I have been able to navigate many high-pressure situations and make sure that I'm making the correct decisions. I also have been able to communicate with the people around me and make decisions based on what we all see fit, what we see as the best options for the students. You know, we have senators for a reason because they each represent specific constituents, and when we're able to come together, we're able to make informed decisions that is the best for the students.
Director Brandt, same question to you. You have 60 seconds.
Absolutely. Any good student leader will know that stressful decisions, impactful decisions are common every single day when you're making hundreds of decisions that will impact the student body. The most important thing when making these decisions is listening to the student body, and that's something that student government can improve on. Listening to student voices, making sure that student voices are heard. That's what this means. It means talking to students, making sure they are heard.
Vice Speaker Pursley, you have 45 seconds.
I'm good.
Next, we're going to move to our next topic of diversity. To Director Brandt, how do you intend to foster an environment in student government where students from diverse backgrounds feel genuinely valued, included, beyond just surface level representation?
Absolutely. The Brant Vlasic campaign fully understands and recognizes the recent DEI legislation that is present in the state of Iowa and the concerns that this is having for students, specifically Senate File 2435, the 10 Board of Regents DEI directives that will go into effect on July 1st. We understand that, and that is law that we have to follow. But what we can do is create new student organizations, help students to get their student organization across the finish line, and then ultimately allow them to come to student government to get funding. That's how we will create new spaces for all students on our campus, even in light of the recent DEI legislation.
Vice Speaker Persley, 60 seconds.
Yeah, I think this is something that's incredibly important. We have many diverse students here at Iowa State, and we have an obligation to be there for those students. We have an obligation to be there for every student, and so what we really want to work on is communication and collaboration with other student organizations that are based on diverse backgrounds. One of our platform points is working with the City of Ames downtown to create a culture fest. The City of Ames is really excited about this. They really want to work on this and bring in students, bring in student organizations, and create an event that connects the community and brings us all together to celebrate each and every one of us.
Dr. Brandt, you have 45 seconds if you'd like.
I mean, that's exactly what our homecoming event is going to do. It's going to bring students onto our campus right here and have students have a meaningful event where they can come back to campus on a Friday night before the homecoming football game and feel that sense of community and ultimately to feel safe, supported, and involved while they're a student at Iowa State University.
Vice Speaker Persley, 45 seconds.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say those events are very connected. I think this event more pertains to diversity and celebrating different cultures, cultural foods, and different groups related to culture. If you wanted to talk about an engagement event like that, we could talk about our Ireland watch party that we want to have during the Cyclone Welcome Weekend. That fosters community and brings in first-year students and returning students to come together to celebrate community. So we have multiple events that are celebrating community, and they all kind of highlight something new and different.
Director Brandt, you have 45 seconds.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Ireland Football Watch Party is already in works with the Division of Student Affairs. Student government doesn't need to reinvent the wheel, go out of our way to plan an event like that, when university administration and leadership are already taking the key steps and initiatives to get that done.
Vice Speaker Persley, 45 seconds.
Yeah, so this is something that we've been in discussion with Dr. Younger about. We've been talking to the ISU athletics about, and they're really excited about students wanting to get participated in this. They want student government to be a part of this event, and they are really hopeful about us being a part of this event. They want us to come in and help with something like this.
Dr. Brandt, you have 29 seconds.
Yeah, what I'm saying is the Division of Student Affairs is already planning this event, and student government would be a partner, not that student government would be hosting this event. Keywords, partner with the Division of Affairs.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 25 seconds.
Like I said, we would still be working on this event. We would be working together. I know you talked about collaboration. That's what this is all about.
Dr. Brandt, 17 seconds if you like.
I mean, we took the first steps for collaboration before February 1st to make sure that our platform was achievable and fiscally responsible, and you didn't, so.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 16 seconds.
Respectfully, I don't see what that has to do with this.
And then 8 seconds left.
Respectfully, it means making sure that our platform was achievable, doable, and fiscally responsible.
And then 13 more seconds, Vice Speaker Persley. Perfect.
Vice Speaker Persley, what role do you see student government playing in shaping Iowa State's diversity, equity, and inclusion policies? And how would you ensure these policies are effective and beneficial for all students? You have 60 seconds.
Yeah, so something that has been really concerning to students this year and the past year is new DEI regulations from the state and federal levels that restrict students. This is scary. This is scary for me as a student. This is scary for other students I've talked to. What I really want to focus on is collaboration and, at the student government level, at the student organization level, making sure students have the communities that they require to celebrate who they are. You know, that is so important to me. I want to be able to celebrate who I am authentically. I want other students to be able to celebrate who they are authentically. And so whether that's student government working with other student organizations to put on events that were not able to be done at the Iowa State level anymore, then that's what we'll do. Because what I want to do is make sure that students have the spaces that they need to feel seen.
Director Brandt, same question to you. You have 60 seconds.
Absolutely. Right now, I'm currently serving as the Director of Government Affairs for Iowa State University Student Government. With this role, I'm responsible for advocating for students at the Board of Regents, state, and federal level. In fact, I just got back from a 5-day legislative fly-in in Washington, D.C. These issues are things that we have been advocating for the past year. The past year that I've been serving as Director of Government Affairs, I have been advocating, along with my team and other Regent institutions, about DEI. That's something that will continue under the Brandt-Vlasic administration. We will work to continue our trips to the Des Moines State House, the Board of Regents, make sure that student voices are heard on all levels of the United States government.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 45 seconds to respond.
On the topic of DEI, this question is to Director Brandt. With the closure of certain organizations per DEI, if you could go into a little bit more detail in how you plan to support underrepresented groups and what specific initiatives will you prioritize to promote inclusivity on campus?
Could you repeat that, please?
Yes. How do you plan to maintain support for underrepresented groups and what initiatives will you prioritize to promote inclusivity on campus?
Absolutely. On our campus, we have just a little over 800 organizations. That is a lot of student organizations that student government has the opportunity to connect with. And a lot of them are focused on DEI, and that's where students find their safe place and their community. It's about connecting with them, making sure that their voices are heard, and then ultimately that these clubs are able to come to student government. They trust student government to be able to give them money, hear their voices, and make sure that they are heard in the process of student government. It's about connecting with students where they are at. That is what student government is here for. Keyword, student government. It's about connecting with the students.
Vice Speaker Percy, same question to you, 60 seconds.
Yeah, I think support for underrepresented groups is really important. As a member of an underrepresented group, I am a student that experiences a disability. This is something that is super important to me. It's something that affects me personally. You know, I want to be there for other students. I want us to feel the support that we require to succeed as students. And so that's why I have been meeting with many student organizations focused on DEI. I've worked extensively with Pride Alliance on everything that is happening at the Capitol right now and making sure that they feel supported and making sure that they know they have rights in student government. And we are here to support them. I am here to support them. And I hope that every student knows that I am here for them.
Director Brandt, you have 45 seconds to respond.
Absolutely. Since the legislation has been in session this year, I have been to the Capitol bi-weekly advocating for these issues for all students on our campus. In addition, if students are concerned or weary about what their rights may be in light of the recent DEI legislation, I would encourage them to seek out student legal services on the Memorial Union's 6th floor. This is a service that is paid for by student government, paid for by your student activity fee, and is there to support all students in light of the recent DEI legislation.
Vice Speaker Percy, you have 45 seconds if you'd like.
Yeah, I would like to say that I agree with Colby. I think that's a great resource, and that's something that students should be utilizing. Student government has been able to fund student legal services, and it's been a great resource for students. I've recently talked to a student who was able to go talk to them and work through things. You know, she came to me talking about how we want to create an area for students to research their own legal cases, to have legal resources on file for students, and that's something I definitely want to look into in making sure that we can have the correct legal resources for students.
You have 45 seconds to respond, Director Brandt.
We already have those legal resources on campus. In fact, that's what I highlighted. We have 2 licensed attorneys in the state of Iowa here to represent all students free of charge. That's what Student Legal Services is here for. Not only will they represent you on DEI and your rights as an individual, but also on a variety of different issues. And that's one of our campaign points, is spreading awareness and making sure that students know that this is a resource available to them if they are ever in need of legal counsel. Students deserve to have the right to know what their money is being spent on, Student Legal Services being one of them, and being able to utilize that resource.
Vice Speaker Percy, you still have 45 seconds if you'd like to use them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on to the topic of campus impact, Vice Speaker Persley, what strategies will you implement to increase student participation in campus events, student government, and decision-making processes? You have 60 seconds.
Yeah, so one thing that we really wanted to work on with our campaign is partnering with the City of Ames and the City Council. They've come to us every semester. We have a joint City Council meeting where we're able to hear from the City of Ames what's important to them. And so something that we wanted to focus on, fostering collaboration with the City of Ames and hosting events, helping them, collaborating with events downtown, and getting more students downtown in the community. One of the things we wanted to focus on was our Culture Fest that we talked about, but then as well getting more students down to Pride Fest. They host it in September so that students can go, and we want to make sure that students are able to collaborate with this fantastic opportunity and be able to attend events downtown.
Director Brandt, same question to you.
Absolutely. When you think about this question, it's important that student government is hosting events that are meaningful and impactful to students. And I think the homecoming event that our campaign team has been working on is something that's really important to highlight. Homecoming Central already does a phenomenal job of planning homecoming week, but not very many students participate in it outside of the Greek community. That's something that is concerning with the amount of work that they put into it. We need to work with Homecoming Central and the Student Union Board to make this event exciting and fun for all students. That looks like having local artists, national artists, food trucks on campus, and making sure that this event is impactful for students on our campus.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 45 seconds to respond.
Yes, I'm curious, what would the planning look like for an event like this? I know that currently our administration took a year to plan a campus concert, and it's been a very long process. It's been very difficult to get this done. So how would you be able to do this in one summer and get it done by the fall?
I mean, really, when you think about it, a lot of the measures are already in place. Homecoming Central has a stage on Central Campus. They have a lot of these resources already planned and available, which student government helps to plan. What they need is our help. That's where the Student Union Board comes in, helping us to attract talent, recruit talent. Ultimately, the two main things we'd have to do would be to collaborate with the Homecoming Central and Student Union Board to create a schedule, and then allow the Student Union Board to set up artists. That's really what the main two goals would be, and those would be the two main largest tasks. We're not really reinventing the wheel with this, we're just taking their current event to the next level.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 45 seconds.
Yeah, and I would just like to say that, you know, Homecoming Central, they already do so much for the students. They put on a huge fireworks show for students last year. That was a big event, and, you know, it did bring in a lot of students, not just in the Greek community. So how would you plan something that reached out to even more students than just the ones that have already been at the events?
Director Brandt, you have 45 seconds.
I mean, absolutely. I think it's pretty simple. If you have a national artist, someone that you recognize, you listen to on the radio, and a really fun, meaningful event on your campus, I think it's pretty simple. Students would want to come back for that. And I would like to highlight that this would be completely free and open to all students on our campus.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 20 seconds, if you wish.
I'm good.
Thank you both. Onto the topic of mental health, in addition to increasing resources for mental health, how will you address the stigma surrounding mental health care and encourage students to seek support when needed? Director Brandt.
Absolutely. One of the things we have been advocating for at the Des Moines State House this year is increased mental health funding. That's something that is important, and it is important for all students to make sure that they have access to mental health. What this looks like is spreading awareness about mental health and the resources that are already available on our campus. Thielen Student Health Center, Student Wellness, all of these amazing programs on our campus already are taking strides to improve mental health. What student government can do is help to spread awareness about that. Student government is in a unique position as we're able to connect with thousands and thousands of students every single day. That is how we can work to spread the awareness about mental health and the resources that are already available on our campus.
Vice Speaker Persley, same question to you, 60 seconds.
Yeah, and this is something that we've had extensive conversations with the Director of Therapy Services on campus, Kristen Sievert, and as well Student Wellness, to talk about what can we do to expand the mental health resources, what can we do to get students more involved in mental health resources and understanding what resources are already there for them. You know, something that Kristen talked about is getting out that we do have so much free therapy options for students. We have telehealth therapy options, we have in-person therapy options, And we have group therapy options. And so making sure that we use student government as a platform for more students to know what services and support that is already there for them.
Dr. Brand, you have 45 seconds. Thank you.
Sexual assault prevention remains a major issue across the nation. What specific programs or policies will you push to create a safer environment, and how will you engage with survivors to ensure their voices are heard? Vice Speaker Persley, you have a minute.
Yeah, so something that we were just at last night was Theta Chi's sexual violence event that was for students, making sure that, this event was making sure that I'm trying to think of the word, are there for students who have experienced sexual violence. And this event was amazing. It was a candle passing ceremony, and we were able to be there for the students, and something that we also have been working on is talking to people at Student Wellness, making sure that we can make sure their goals come to life. Something that they have been working on is Green Flags training, which has been newer in the past years, and then as well, Green Dot training, which has already been working so well. They're hoping to introduce another program, and we're really excited to see that and bring student government into that process, making sure student organizations are able to take all of these trainings.
Director Brandt, same question to you.
We know that sexual violence is an issue on our campus and campuses across the United States. But at Iowa State University, we have a robust system there to support students. On our second day of our campaign, during our campaign kickoff, we hosted Carrie from Student Health and Wellness to get 60 students on our campaign team, Green Dot certified. That is what it looks like to prevent sexual violence. A lot of these, it was students' first time taking them. And I've continually heard how meaningful and impactful this training was to them, because that's what it looks like. We know that it's a problem. We need to find the solutions, and some of the solutions already exist on our campus. It's about spreading those out to the diverse student groups on our campus.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 45 seconds.
Yeah, and something I also just wanted to say and focus on is that being there for others is really important. So when you have a friend or a family member or someone close to you that has experienced something like this, knowing the resources, knowing what to do, and being there for that person, I think that's one of the most important things.
Director Brandt, you have 45 seconds.
Absolutely. I would just like to highlight a little bit more about what the Green Dot training is. Green Dot is bystander intervention, actively training people how to intervene if a situation arises. And a lot of the people that were Green Dot certified that day are here in the room, and I think they can all testify to the fact that this is an amazing program, and that's something that the Brant Vlasic campaign has been focused on, pushing this out to students, specifically first-year students. When you first step foot on our campus, whether that's orientation, Cyclone Welcome Weekend, that is where you should have access to Green Dot training, because that might be the most impactful session throughout that entire time.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 45 seconds.
Yeah, I totally agree with that point. I think something that me and Colby both want to focus on is making sure students have the resources that have been provided by the university, and making sure we can get that out to as many student organizations, new students, students that have already been here at Iowa State, and making sure that they can take these trainings and do what needs to be done.
Director Brandt? Okay. Now on to questions aimed at the candidates' platforms. To Director Brandt, student government just announced legislation to fund a campus concert at Hilton Coliseum. Your campaign also proposes a concert and entertainment for students, but during homecoming week. Given the similar objectives, why were you one of the few members of student government not to co-sponsor the campus concert bill? You have a minute.
Absolutely. Well, I'm happy to clarify that. I was never made aware that this bill was going to be brought to the table. In fact, I was never asked. I didn't know that this legislation was being passed. And I did talk to the current student body president, and he claims that it was a misunderstanding and a miscommunication. I'm here to say that I think that was intentional. It was because I am running for student body president. I never said I didn't support this bill. I do support it, and I'm glad to see it being off the ground. And I would like to highlight that our event is so much more than a concert. This is an event where students can feel community, find their space, and ultimately be able to come back to campus on a Friday night, have some good food from food trucks, hear some good talent, and ultimately get excited going into the football game.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 45 seconds.
Yeah, I'm just still concerned about how you're going to be able to plan an event this big with a national artist when we've already seen issues about planning an event this big and how long it takes. I just want to hear more about your timeline of how you're going to plan this just over the summer.
Director Brandt, 45 seconds.
I mean, I've already made it pretty clear that this isn't something that's going to be super challenging. The hardest part is going to be booking the artists, which the Student Union Board is the expert in that. The Student Union Board hosts events here in the Memorial Union on campus all the time. That's their expertise. That's their forte. That's what they're good at. And we need to tap into that expertise. And that's what the Brandt Blaschick campaign has been doing. It's about finding what students are good at, using that expertise to ultimately create events that will impact students on our campus. It's really not that hard of an event to plan. And on day one, we'll work to create a task force with all of these student organizations that we've mentioned to make sure that this event comes to fruition.
Vice Speaker Persley, 45 seconds. Okay. This question is directed towards you. Given the athletic director's firm stance against alcohol sales in Jack Trice Stadium, what is your position on this issue, and how would you navigate the conversation between student interests and administrative decisions? You have a minute.
This is for me. Yeah, so that's not something that we're campaigning on. What we are campaigning on is working with the athletic department to put on an event for the Ireland game in the fall. We want to put on an event that is safe and every student is able to attend in Hilton Coliseum, and we think it's going to be a great event and a great way to build community and work together with other groups to collaborate on a big event.
Director Brandt, 45 seconds.
Yeah, I'm sure most of you have seen the recent Iowa State Daily article talking about the town hall. And I would just like to highlight that alcohol sales at Jack Trice Stadium is out of the scope of student government. Student government doesn't get to make those decisions. That's not our choice. That's up to Jamie Pollard, who is the athletics director. And that is a partnership that we will continue to foster in our time if we are elected to serve.
Vice Speaker Persley.
Yeah, I think that's very well said.
Thank you both. And this next question is to Colby Brandt. How do you plan to streamline the student government funding process while ensuring all clubs can still meet the eligibility requirements outlined in the PNC document?
Absolutely. I mean, if any of you in this room have been through the funding process in the recent months, you'll know that this is an extremely inefficient, timely process. At the end of the day, we are all students first. Coming to student government for funding should not be a chore. What this looks like I said, is meeting students where they are at. It looks like getting out in front of students, talking to them. And as for the PNC is meant to be changed. It's meant to be amended. And that's one thing that we will work on throughout our year of service, revising the PNC, listening to student voices about how we can best serve them through the PNC document. The PNC is a living document. It isn't the Constitution. We can change the PNC and make sure that it is inclusive for all students on our campus.
Vice Speaker Persley, 45 seconds to respond.
Yeah, like I've said, constructive criticism is really important. So we want to take in constructive criticism from different student organizations on how to make our funding processes better. I mean, we currently do only have a 4-step funding process. We actually this year have gotten student organizations the most amount of funding that we have in a long time. So that's been really exciting. So we want to continue what's been working well and focus on improving what has not been working so well, and using student governments or using student organizations' input in that process and what they want to see in making it better is going to be really important.
Director Brandt, you have 45 seconds.
That's exactly why we created a specific platform point to this, because we saw the need for students to come to student government for funding, and we saw the inefficiencies, and we are dedicated to making this a reality where students feel comfortable coming to student government for funding, and it is an easy and simple process.
Vice Speaker Persley, I have 45 seconds to respond if you'd like.
Good.
Thank you. This next question is to Vice Speaker Persley. We've already had some discussion on this, but you proposed creating a new platform for students to express their ideas. What specific shortcomings in the current system do you aim to address, and how will your platform effectively improve student engagement and representation? You have a minute.
Yeah, so I think having a specific platform for students to express their ideas is really important, because right now students are able to go to open forum, which is in front of a lot of eyes. It's really scary. Or they're able to contact us through our website in a difficult process that goes through multiple emails. So what I want to do is streamline that process, make sure that students are able to voice their opinions and other students are able to see what they have to bring to the table, and we can work together to collaborate on something that makes this campus better.
Director Brandt, you have 45 seconds.
Yeah, every week at Senate, Wednesdays at 6 p.m., students have the opportunity to come to open forum, But many students choose not to because student government hasn't impacted them or worked to build a relationship with them, and that's what we need to change. We need to be working with students, making sure that they trust us, that they know how their money is being spent. That is how we will build trust amongst student government and ultimately allow people to come to student government and share their visions, their goals, and their ideas for a better Iowa State University.
Vice Speaker Purse, you have 45 seconds if you'd like.
That's good.
Thank you.
This question is for Director Brandt. Given that the fiscal year ends in June, a time when the Iowa State Daily publishes fewer articles, how do you plan to ensure that the end of the year financial breakdown reaches the student body effectively? You have a minute.
Absolutely. In our modern day and age, we've seen the power of social media, and I think that's one of the really unique resources that we need to tap into as a student government, highlighting our social media and ultimately pushing that message out to students. Student government is in a really unique position as we're able to email nearly every single student on our campus. Student government is able to connect with students even during breaks, and I would like to highlight that student government will continue to work for you this summer under a Brandt Vlasic administration if we have the opportunity to be elected. Over the summer, we are both going to be interning, but student government will still be our priority in representing the student body.
Vice Speaker Pursley, you have 45 seconds.
Can you repeat the question?
Given that the fiscal year ends in June, a time when the Iowa State Daily publishes fewer articles, how do you plan to ensure that the end of year financial breakdown reaches the student body effectively? To Director Brandt.
Okay, so something that we really want to continue doing is fostering our relationship with the Iowa State Daily, making sure that we are able to use each other to make our organizations great. You know, the Iowa State Daily is able to post down a breakdown every year of what Iowa State student government has been spending our money on, and I think it's really important to continue collaborating on that and making sure students know that Iowa State Daily does that for us.
Director Brandt, you have 45 seconds. Vice Speaker Pursley, one of your platform points includes creating composting initiatives. What specific steps will you take to implement this? You have a minute.
Yeah, so currently Frederickson Court has a pilot program based on this, and you know, last year I was the vice chair of the Sustainability Committee on Student Government. We wanted to focus on things that we can do, concrete things that we can do to increase sustainability on campus. This is something that's really important to me, and so we want to continue working on that Freddie Court pilot program, refining it, making it better so that it is completely correct and, you know, it works to the best of its ability. And then once that pilot program has reached its potential, we can see how to implement that in other areas on campus.
Director Brandt, you have 45 seconds.
Absolutely, I have a question for my opponent. So you're really passionate about sustainability, which I appreciate your passion for sustainability, but also you're promoting more parking on campus, taking away green space on our campus. Our campus is beautiful. That is why students choose Iowa State University, is because of the green space. But yet you're actively campaigning on taking away green spaces for parking.
Vice
Yeah,
Speaker
I've never-
Pursley, you have 45 seconds.
I've never campaigned for that. I've never campaigned for taking away green space or adding new parking lots. That's never been something that I've campaigned on, so that clears that up right away. You know, something that we've been talking to parking about is working on ideas where we can work together and make something that's better for students, that's better for staff, and that's better for visitors. So maybe creating a program where we can make the parking on weekends 30 minutes earlier or 30 minutes later on Sundays or Mondays. So, you know, coming up with ideas, seeing what we can do to make this campus better for students, for all. And I do not want to take away green spaces on campus. That is not something I'm campaigning for.
Director Brandt, you have 45 seconds.
I mean, it has been said in the vice presidential debate, taking green spaces from the outsides of campus and turning that into parking lots. So I would encourage you to think about that. And then also at Students for Open Discussion, my opponents talked about removing staff parking on our campus, and I've talked to a lot of faculty and staff on our campus, and they do not want their parking removed. That is not something that they want.
45 seconds, Percy.
Yep, that's also never been campaigned on. I do not want to take away staff parking. Staff is incredibly important to me. Students are incredibly important to me. And green spaces are incredibly important to me. And you know, it doesn't make me feel great to have words put into my mouth. And so this has never been something that I've campaigned on.
Director Brandt, you have 25 seconds.
I mean, I would encourage you to ask the audience, ask members of our campaign team who have heard you present, and I can guarantee you they will fact check for you.
Vice Speaker Persley, 27 seconds.
Thank you both. This next question is to Director Brandt. With the Finance Director and Finance Committee already overseeing the funding process, how do you justify the need for assembling a separate team to address these issues, and how will you ensure that this does not create redundancy or inefficiency?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yes, of course. With the Finance Director and Finance Committee already overseeing the funding process, how do you justify the need for assembling a separate team to address these issues, and how do you ensure that this does not create redundancy or inefficiency? 60 seconds.
I mean, not one of our campaign points has establishing another finance team. That's not something we're actively campaigning on. Rather, we're actively campaigning on utilizing our finance director and finance team to streamline the process and ultimately to increase transparency to the student body, because at the end of the day, you deserve to know where your hard-earned dollars are being spent. That is student government's responsibility to you. I would love to know right now where my $98 are being spent, but I don't. So I think that question is misleading because we are not campaigning on creating another finance team.
Vice Speaker Percy, 45 seconds to respond.
You know, something I always think is important with finance is having a strong finance director, having a strong finance committee, because they do so much for student government. They hold so many meetings with student groups, and it's important to have strong leadership that knows what they're doing. They know about the finances, and you know, they have a strong ability to make sure they're doing the right thing for students.
Dr. Brand, you have 45 seconds to respond if you'd like.
Yeah, I think this ties in a really unique perspective as building out a cabinet. It's about finding that talent, especially if we're elected. When we're building our cabinet, we're passionate about finding the experts in each respective field and cabinet position. That's what student government is about. It's about finding the experts, and we will work to find the experts to lead our campaign priorities specifically relating to finance.
Vice Speaker Percy, 45 seconds if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that's what this is all about. You know, the president and the vice president do a lot, but they also delegate a lot. So finding strong leadership that is able to do what's important and make this government great.
Thank you. Director Brand, would you like to respond to that?
No, I'm good.
Thank you both. This next question is for Vice Speaker Persley. How do you plan to organize and fund the watch party for the season opening game in Ireland, and what steps will you take to ensure high student engagement? 60 seconds.
Yeah, so this is something that is being worked on at the university level, and so we are hoping to focus on this event as a collaborative opportunity, something that we are able to work on with Cyclone Welcome Weekend, that we are able to work on with Student Affairs, and that we are able to work on with student government. And so bringing these organizations together and working hard to make sure students have a fun and exciting opportunity on Cyclone Welcome Weekend to come together in community.
Thank you. Director Brand, you have 45 seconds to respond if you'd like.
That's exactly what our homecoming event is working to do, bringing in partners. This event is doable, it is fiscally responsible, and it is achievable. That's what this is about. It's about hosting events for the good of the student body with student dollars. It's about being responsible for student dollars when planning and hosting events. That's what student government is here for.
Vice Speaker Percy, 45 seconds if you'd like.
I'm good.
Thank you. We will now take a 10-minute intermission and collect questions from the audience. To submit the question, you can scan the QR code that will be posted on the screen during our break. The QR code will take you to a Google form where you can write questions to individual candidates or both candidates. You can also access the QR code right here in the Memorial Union. When we return, we will be asking the candidates questions that have been submitted by the student body. We will return in 10 minutes. Thank you both. Thank you all. We will now begin the period for audience questions. This first question is for both candidates, and we will start with Vice Speaker Pursley. How are you going to get more students to vote in this election? You have 60 seconds.
Yeah, so something that we're really excited about, we've been reaching out to students, we've had a couple of tabling events, and we've been trying to get to as many students as possible. We're going to be out there on Tuesday and Wednesday getting students to vote in the election. I've been using my community, the sorority and fraternity community, and trying to get as many people to vote as possible.
Thank you. Director Brand, you have 60 seconds.
Absolutely. On the first day of our campaign, we were out there at the K-State basketball game handing out hot chocolate in below freezing weather for students who are waiting in line for the basketball game. That's what this campaign is about. That was our first event we've hosted, but now we've hosted 4 events for students completely free of charge for them, handing out pizza, handing out mugs to stay, hot chocolate, all the things for students. That's ultimately how we can spread awareness about our campaign. And ultimately, we've been using our social media, which I think we have a pretty fire social media. If you haven't checked it out yet, you should. We have a wonderful social media, and that has been super effective in making sure that students across campus are able to know about the election and make sure that their voices are heard.
Thank you both. Vice Speaker Presley, would you like to use 45 seconds?
What?
If you'd like to use 45 seconds to respond.
Yeah, and another thing that we want to focus on is making sure we beat Iowa in this campaign election. You know, we have a, what's the word? We have a cup, I think that's what the Commissioner's Cup going on, that we're trying to get more votes than Iowa is. So we really want to beat Iowa and make sure that we can get more votes in our student government election than they do.
Director Brand, you have 45 seconds. You'd like to use them.
Oh, I would just like to highlight that voting is next week, March 4th and 5th, and make sure you get out and vote.
Thank you both.
Director Brandt, what is one positive attribute you see in each of your opposing candidates?
Absolutely. I appreciate my opponent's dedication to sustainability. I think that's really something that's impressive, how dedicated she is to sustainability, and I appreciate that. As for my opponent, Mr. Rolls, I really appreciate his dedication to SciRide. I'm glad that he's able to be a member of the SciRide Board of Trustees for the past few weeks and really working to make a change within SciRide.
Same question to Vice Speaker Pursley.
Yeah, so, you know, in the fall we had our student government event, and I was able to work with Colby at that event. We were tabling together, and it was so cute. He bought a bouquet of flowers for his sister for joining her sorority that day. And so, you know, one thing I love about Colby is that he cares so much about the people around him. You know, you can definitely see it in the way he talks about his family and the people close to him. He really does care about them, and I appreciate that. And, you know, with Will, I think your dedication to FFA and, you know, your community is so important, and I think you're a very eloquent speaker, and I appreciate all of your dedication.
Thank you both.
And this next question is also to both. We will go to Director Brandt. If you're not elected, in what capacity would you be involved in student government?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will still be involved with student government if we are not elected. I think it's important to consider that student voices still need to be heard. There will still be problems on our campus. I would want to come back as a senator. This year I've been on the cabinet, a non-voting member of student government, and if we do not have the opportunity to be elected, I think it'd be really interesting to be the ones that are writing the legislation that directly impacts students. And if we are elected, I would invite our opponents to join our cabinet and continue to stay involved in student government, because that's what is important about student government, making sure that all students have the opportunity to join student government and make sure that their voices are heard and that they can impact their community.
Vice Speaker Pursley, some question to you, 60 seconds.
Yeah, so I have truly enjoyed my position as Vice Speaker of the Senate. I have also enjoyed my position as Vice Chair of the Sustainability Committee in Student Government. Student government has become my home, it's become my community, and I'm so thankful for this community, and it's never something that I would want to leave. You know, I would want to continue being in this organization, and so I would hope to be a senator or on a committee or potentially on cabinet if this position is not something that students see me in, because I want to be in the position where students think that I'm going to make the best impact.
Director Brand, you have 45 seconds if you'd like to use them.
No, I have nothing to respond to that. I just want to say I appreciate your dedication, and I'm excited to work with you in some capacity next year, no matter what the capacity is.
Vice Speaker Pursley, you have to use the 45 seconds.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you both.
To Vice Speaker Pursley, What is the biggest thing you have learned since starting your campaign?
Yeah, something that I have learned while working on this campaign is that it's really difficult to hear criticism of yourself. It's really hard to hear unkind words directed towards you, and so that's something that I have had to, take into consideration and work on taking in. It's very difficult to be in a public position where people are able to criticize you in any way, and so focusing on my campaign, doing what I can for the students, and hoping that you see me as who I am, and that what I really want to do is impact students and make this community a better place.
Dr. Brandt, same question to you.
Yeah, one thing that I've learned throughout this campaign is the lack of awareness for student government and the vast resources that student government has available to all students. That's something that's really concerning. When you're paying $98 into the student activity fee, you deserve to have that money work for you and make that money have events for you and make sure that you have transportation, all the things. That is what has been concerning to me, and also hearing those student voices, listening to that feedback. That has been the biggest thing I've learned, and we are passionate about connecting students to their student dollars and making sure that their voices are heard in student government.
Vice Speaker Persley, would you like to respond? This question is for Director Brandt. What would you say the biggest difference is on your campaign platform compared to your opponent? You have a minute.
Absolutely. Like I previously mentioned, all of our campaign platform points, every single one you see on our list is approved, and we had the approval from administrators, the department they work, the specific platform, would work with. They all gave us the go-ahead and said, yes, this is fiscally responsible, feasible, and doable. Something that students need, and there's a need for it. That is what sets our platform apart. These are real issues that students are facing. We're done talking about the issues. We're here to make real change for the students of Iowa State University.
Vice Speaker Persley, same question to you.
Yeah, something that I'd like to highlight is that every single one of our platform's points are also doable and achievable. We've been talking to the people we need to talk to, and we have made sure that everything we have here is correct. I think that our platform is the better choice for these positions because of the experience that me and Eric have in the student body, and because I am able to take in everything that the students bring to me and make it into something tangible for change.
Dr. Brandt, you have 45 seconds to respond.
Absolutely. I would like to highlight my role as Director of Government Affairs. Just this fall, I hosted a large-scale event in collaboration with other student government members to welcome the Board of Regents to our campus. I think that's pretty impressive. And also, I appreciate my running mate and his high level of leadership experience. Will and I have the leadership experience needed to serve in this role and to represent the student body effectively and efficiently.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 45 seconds.
I'm good.
Thank you both.
And this next question is to both again, but we will start with Vice Speaker Persley, and it's a little bit more of a lighthearted question. How did you choose your running mate?
Okay, so yes, I'm really excited about this question. I actually chose Eric because of the experience that he posed in student government. I think it's really important to choose someone with good experience and that knows the processes of the organization that they're trying to lead. I also chose Eric because he is so level-headed and smart. He is an incredibly smart individual. He knows so much, and I think that's really good to have as someone that's sitting alongside you making decisions with you.
Dr. Bren, you have some questions, 60 seconds.
Yeah, I've known Will since my first year, last year, my first year of college. And from the minute I met him, he was a servant leader, and you can see that, and it's evident in all the work he does. He is a servant leader. He truly cares about his peers, making sure that their voices are heard. And I think that's something that's very respectable and something that he will continue to do and make sure that all students feel heard and valued on our campus.
Thank you, Vice Speaker Persley. 45 seconds if you like. Thank you.
This question is for Director Brandt. You've promised to make significant changes to campus life. Can you point to any specific leadership experiences or actions that prove you are capable of making those changes? You have a minute.
I mean, look at my student government experience. I hosted the Board of Regents event Just got back from a 5-day legislative fly-in in Washington, D.C. I think those events really speak for themselves. To represent 30,000 students and 560,000 students from the Big 12 at the highest level of the United States federal government is something that is truly special, and I'm thankful I had the opportunity. That's what student government is about. Student government is about representing the students, and I just did that at the highest level of the United States government.
Vice Speaker Persley, same question to you.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Can you point to any specific leadership experiences or actions that prove you are capable of making significant changes to campus life?
Yeah, so just with sustainability, that's been my main focus. I'm an environmental studies major, and so that's something that's really important to me. I've been able to help host the campus cleanup event this fall, and I'm going to be helping host another one this spring in collaboration with IRHA and the sorority and fraternity community. That's been really exciting because we've been able to make sure our campus is clean and students are able to enjoy it. But something that I've also focused on last year, I helped with the One Sustainable Iowa Conference and bringing speakers and students from other universities onto the campus to talk about sustainability and how we can improve that in our world and on campus. And so that's something to do with sustainable engagement, but you know, I've also wanting to focus on, in our campaign, creating events where more students are able to engage in our campus and have fun events where we can all come together as a community.
Director Brandt, you have 45 seconds if you wish. Thank you both.
And this next question is for Director Brandt. How would you describe your leadership experience? You have, your leadership style. You have a minute.
Absolutely. I think one of the most important things about being a good leader is leading with grace. All the teams I've led with, I've been able to lead with grace, extending grace to my peers, the people I work with, because at the end of the day, we are all human and we all make mistakes. But what's important is recognizing your mistakes and learning from them. I think that's one of the key things that I embody as a leader, making sure that my team feels cared for and that they know if they make a mistake that it is okay, but we will figure out a plan moving forward to work forward. And that's the kind of leadership that student government needs. Student government needs leaders who are okay with students making mistakes and then ultimately being able to learn from those mistakes, because at the end of the day, we are all human.
And Vice Speaker Persley, same question to you. I have a minute.
Yeah, so my leadership style is embodied on caring deeply about those around me. I truly care so much about each and every person in student government and each and every person in the student body. And so that's really important to me. But specifically to my leadership style, delegation is something that's really important to me. So finding other leaders with similar ideas, but also different ideas, and bringing those contrasting ideas together to make something that works for every single student, no matter what their different backgrounds or opinions are. And so representing each student through delegation and through a strong cabinet is something that's going to be really important to me as a leader.
And if you'd like to respond, Dr. Brandt. Thank you.
This question is for Director Brandt. Oh, sorry. This question is for Vice Speaker Persley. Your slogan is "Together we can." How do you work together with people who have differing views than your own? You have a minute.
Yeah, so this has been something that we've been working on throughout our campaign. We've been working with students from many different organizations. On the very first day of the campaign, we sat down and we emailed every student organization on the student organization website to come meet with them, talk with them, see how we can improve our platform points based on what they see. And, you know, if they saw something that they wanted fixed in our platform points or something that they wanted to add, we wanted to continue working on that and improving. So meeting with all of those student organizations was incredibly important to us, but then also taking in criticism, making sure that we are able to change based on what's important to the students.
Director Brandt, you have 45 seconds to respond.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the most important things about campaigning is being out in front of students and student clubs. And our campaign, I'm really thankful for our campaign team, our coalition leaders, and all of them for their dedication in helping us make sure that we are reaching as many students as possible, whether that's attending club events, being out on Central Campus, handing out food for students, or any other event. That's what this campaign is about. That's what the Brandt-Vlasic campaign truly embodies, is connecting with students.
Vice Speaker Persley, you have 45 seconds.
I'm good.
Thank you both.
And this last question is to Director Brandt. If you could please explain your transportation plan.
Absolutely. On our campus, there is a need for transportation. Think about it. We're 45 minutes from the Des Moines airport, and we have a large percent of out-of-state and international students. There's a need for transportation. I'm sure many of you are aware, Uber or Lyft at 4 a.m. or 8 p.m. at night is not going to be reliable to get you to the airport. But what is reliable is the Iowa State Department of Transportation Airport Shuttle Program. This program is offered year-round, but at major holidays, so Thanksgiving and winter break, they're there at a reduced rate, just around $50. That's important for students to have access to safe and affordable transportation. Keyword affordable. Right now, this is expensive. This is expensive for students to buy and use. We need to work with student government to spread awareness about this and ultimately to reduce the cost for students who have to travel to get home for breaks.
Vice Speaker Presley, you have 45 seconds to respond if you wish.
Yeah, so this was recently taken down from a higher cost down to $50. So what funds would you use and who would you work with to make this cost even lower?
Yeah. When we met with Director Jeremy Paul, really the cost is established by the amount of ridership. So the more students that were able to participate in this program, the lower the cost will be. And also using student government dollars to help fund this program because there is a need for it. And this is a service that students want and that they can use to feel the impact of their $98 student activity fee.
Vice Speaker Pursley, you have 45 seconds to respond if you'd like.
Yeah, so separately from this, we've talked to Chief Newton about introducing a program where students can get a discount code on Uber and Lyft to different areas around Ames or in towns close by. And this is something that the University of Iowa actually does. So, you know, it's really important to focus on affordable transportation. We think that your points on affordable transportation are good, and you know, I think it's really important. And something that we can also add is creating an affordable Uber or Lyft program.
Director Brand, you have 45 seconds if you like. Thank you both.
Entering the final section of our debate, each candidate will have 90 seconds to make closing statements, starting with Brant.
I still remember my first few weeks on campus walking into the Memorial Union, this very room for Club Fest, feeling overwhelmed by the endless possibilities, but also wondering where I truly fit in. Like so many students, I had big dreams, but I wasn't sure how to make them a reality. It wasn't until I got involved, met the right people, and found my community that I realized something powerful. Iowa State University is at its best when students feel safe, supported, and involved. Will and I take safety and support seriously. My opponent claimed tonight we're censoring our social media, but here's the truth. We blocked one individual who was harassing a member of our team. There's no place for harassment on our campus. Protecting our team isn't censorship. It's about creating a safer, more respectful environment for everyone. That's exactly why Will and I are running to serve as your next student body president and vice president. We know every student has a story, a dream, and a vision for their time at Iowa State University. But too often, student government feels distant, like something that works around us rather than for us. This campaign isn't about us, it's about you, your experiences, your concerns, and your vision for a better Iowa State. Every student deserves to feel heard and valued, and we're committed to making that a reality. So as you head into voting, ask yourself, who will show up, put in the work, and make a difference? We believe that after tonight, the answer is clear. I would like to extend my gratitude to the Iowa State Daily and the Election Commission for hosting this conversation tonight. Iowa State students, now is your time to make your voice heard on campus.
Vice Speaker Pursley, you have 90 seconds.
Yes, so I could have written a long speech for this closing announcement, but I decided to speak from the heart to all of you. This is me. This is who I am. I'm here putting myself out there in front of all of you. And if you like what I've had to say tonight, please vote for me on March 4th and 5th. I truly care about each and every one of you. I care about every student here at Iowa State, and student government is so important to me. You know, I really want to lead this organization because it has given so much to me, and I want to give back to the organization that has become my home and become so important to me and to other students here on campus. So thank you so much, and please vote on March 4th and 5th if you think that I will be the best leader for this position.
Thank you both. And this concludes the 2025 presidential debate. Thank you to both campaigns for attending tonight, and thank you to the members of the Election Commission and the Iowa State Daily, as well as the MU technical staff that helped in preparation for the event. Make sure to cast your vote in the 2025 student government elections on either March 4th or 5th. All Iowa State students will receive an email on each election day with a link to vote. We will also be having in-person polling stations around campus where students can get a cookie if they vote in person. Thank you again to everyone involved. Don't forget to vote and have a great night, and go Cyclones.